Okay, folks, first we're going to talk about the high frequency transmitter on HARP. Now, this is what a lot of people think could be a weapon, and frankly, this type of technology absolutely could be a weapon. Whether or not HARP's used like that is another story. Basically, how this works, and bear in mind we're not experts, but basically, it's the same way radio communication works, where they propagate high frequency radio communication, which is just electromagnetic radiation, off of the ionosphere and around the Earth. Well, there are other kind of waves other than high frequency radio that you can propagate, and let's say you're propagating VLF or UHF, and you're doing it in such a way that it makes standing waves. And what that just means is, rather than getting jumbled up, it's such a frequency that it matches and reinforces what's bouncing back. You're going to see that here in the swimming pool. Now, keep in mind that there is no hydraulics, no kind of standard wave-making techniques that are, if you're in a wave pool. This is just a frequency being propagated through the water, but it is at a frequency that matches what will be coming back, and so they reinforce each other, and you're going to really see this here in a minute. Now, just as you're watching this, think about what would happen if you matched the resonant frequency in such a way that it created standing waves, and it was the resonant frequency of water molecules in the air or in the ocean, or chemicals that just happen to be in the air, however they may have gotten there, or iron or copper in the soil. And imagine what this could do if you matched the resonant frequency of it. That's all we're saying, folks. We really don't think HARP is being used as a weapon, but it certainly could be used that way. Coming over to the scientific tools, we've been talking a lot about the F1 layer and the F2 layer, and we've been saying, hey guys, look, the F2 layer's higher than usual, but it pretty much matches the last solar maximum. But the F1 layer is really kind of acting weird. Now you can see here, this is the F2 layer, the highest critical frequencies going back to January 1999, with the red just being some anomalies that I found interesting. And you can see here we're on the way back up after having this extra long solar minimum. And this is the F1 layer, the same color codes. And you can see where it was like in the last solar maximum, 2000, 2001. And you can see we're already well up over what anything HARP has recorded before. And we think this is very strange, especially because of the extra strong geomagnetic activity we've had, the unexplainable readings on the induction magnetometer. This really kind of tells the story of why we think that the F layer in our ionosphere is doing a little something strange right now. You can see that the F1 layer in particular is not looking as it normally does. The F2 layer isn't any higher than it necessarily should be. It may be spiking a little bit too much, but that's what we're talking about, folks. This got us interested in this upcoming solar cycle and what's been said about it. Now, back in 2006, they basically said that this was a quiet before the storm. They were in the heart of the solar minimum right here. And they were saying that they really expected this next upcoming solar cycle to be a big one. But then in 2009, they really revised this and said they thought it was going to be relatively weak. Even said that we would probably only have a maximum sunspot number of 90. By the way, we've already, I believe, surpassed that for November. We were about 88 in October, and we're not supposed to hit solar maximum until 2013, at least if we take their word for it. But this article is good for something. They talk about the Carrington event, and they talk about how that happened at a relatively weak solar cycle. So. No reason not to watch the sun, even if they think it's going to be a weak solar maximum. They said if we had a Carrington event today, it could cause $1 to $2 trillion in damage. We actually think that's a little low. Today they are revising a lot of their projections. They are saying that we could just as easily have a grand solar maximum happen again right now. They say it's very possible. Now, looking right here, this is the sunspot we've had now. I've kind of made this makeshift just like the last ones, but the blue line is our actual sunspot numbers. The red line is NOAA and NASA's predictions. The yellow line is a combined model of Dankmeyer and Waldmeyer, and the purple line is just the Waldmeyer prediction. So you can see we're up pretty high right now. We're probably due for a relatively quiet 30 or 40 days or so just to come back down, but we're definitely higher than we should be. And even when NASA came out with this article a few days ago talking about a giant fireball couldn't blow up the Earth, as if anyone didn't know that horribly named article. But even in so, they talked about coronal mass ejections and how they could blow out transformers and take out electrical grids. Talked about solar flares and how they could hinder a lot of things and even render satellites useless. And yes, these same satellites that they just a few days ago said were absolutely necessary to sustain 7 billion people on the planet. You know, we talk a lot about things that could start World War III on this channel, and yeah, we talk about finance, famine, food, or war. A lot of people talk about the sun and how it relates to war on this planet. Now, the general study of this kind of stuff is called chronobiology, and that's a good place to start if you're interested. But we'd like to just take a quick look at some of the history, some of our more recent history of war during solar maximums, using as a guide the 400 years of sunspot observations. Now, first here we had 9/11 leading to the War on Terror. Then we had the Gulf War, Iran-Iraq War, plus the Cold War. We had 1969, height of Vietnam, Korea, World War II, the Ukrainian genocide, World War I. And then we had a bunch of things here, the Dungan Revolt, the U.S. Civil War, the Taiping Rebellion, Shaka's Conquest, the Napoleonic Wars. This high point, over here to the left, can you guys see about where that is on the chart? Does it look like it's about 1775? Close, 1776. Too bad nothing important happened then. And of course the spike before that was the French and Indian Wars. Even here in the Maunder Minimum, we had the fall of the Ming Dynasty and the 30 Years' War, and even the Deluge. So that's what it is, folks. I thought we'd give a little different insight into some of the things we're looking at. Keep an eye on the sun, folks, and keep an eye on World War III, frankly. And keep an eye on HAARP for a lot of different reasons. Be safe.